record this session so that we could share it with you and with any folks that just didn't manage to get here but wanted to have this valuable information from Art, so we can send that out. All righty, and I think that is all of our housekeeping. And so I'm going to turn this over to John Harlow, who is our Director of Sales and Marketing here at Absco.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning to everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar today. As Jen said, my name is John Harlow. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for Absco. Absco is a security and life safety specialty contractor operating in the Northwest out of primarily out of our Linwood office, our Spokane office, and our office in Wilsonville, Oregon. And we have assembled an experienced team of experts and have a legacy of providing best-in-class solutions for over 45 years. Our team is highly trained and certified to deliver optimized systems and integrations that add value for clients. And we have expertise in protecting assets in many environments and industries that include multi-site, multi-building, and campus environments. Our dedicated sales, design, and operations teams are effective at delivering custom solutions and provide actionable intelligence for your organizations. And we partner with world-class manufacturers like Motorola. Next slide, please.
Sorry.
And with our Motorola partnership, we operate as an Elite Plus partner on the Avigilon side. And for the broader Motorola product line, we are a Safety Reimagined badge partner, and that gives us access to the full suite of Motorola products, and we're able to leverage those products in integrations and solutions for to meet your specific needs on your in your environment. Next slide. And our team, this is our key team in sales and marketing. We have, what's noteworthy here is that we have expanded the team. We have 2 full-time sales executives in Oregon, in Susan Engel and Steve Emery. And more recently, we've added 2 additional senior account executives in Western Washington, Ray Rounsley and Brendan Murphy. We're happy to have them on board, and they'll be at your service and able to best serve our clients here and in those markets. Next slide. So with that, I would like to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Art Weeks. Art is the Avigilon Regional Sales Manager in Pacific Northwest for Access Control Solutions. And he will be presenting on the strengths of the Avigilon Unity on-premise access control solutions. So welcome, Art, and the floor is yours, sir.
Great, thank you so much. So certainly a pleasure to be with you all today. Looking forward to spending some time today talking about the Avigilon Unity Access Control platform. It's going to be an exciting time. Jen, if you'd please advance the next slide for us. So it's important to know that Avigilon Unity is one segment of solutions within a greater Motorola ecosystem. Unity being on-prem platforms, so you'll see there just kind of off to the left of the Unity moniker, if you will, there's certainly access control, video, body-worn cameras. But what's unique about what Motorola has put together is that we truly have the only ecosystem in the industry that unifies voice, video, analytics, and software to really provide customer outcomes and solutions that are unmatched and unseen in the marketplace today. Next slide, please. So specifically, we're going to be talking about access control. We're going to move pretty quickly through this because really what I want to get into is showing the software and some of the capabilities in there. Where Unity is a clear differentiator compared to the rest of the enterprise access control market, folks, is that we deliver our software in a web browser-based environment. So where the majority of the industry still uses that client-server topology, we use a purpose-built, hardened Linux appliance to deliver software in a web browser environment, which really provides freedom and flexibility for the user or administrator to really conduct their business on any device that they have on or around them, certainly freeing them up from the typical challenges that happen in that client-server topology. Open field hardware, you'll see that that's an icon on the screen here. What we're speaking to here is that we've built our solution around Mercury Security. For those folks that don't know, Mercury Security is the largest open field hardware panel maker in our industry. They've been doing it since 1992. They're based out of Long Beach, California. And the value statement to the market and to you as a potential end customer is that Mercury works with 30 plus vendors like Avigilon. So in those occasions that happen in the marketplace where there's still a fair number of enterprise class access control cups, manufacturers that deploy proprietary equipment, which makes it expensive, quite honestly, for customers to pivot and move to different platforms. Having a Mercury-based platform makes it very easy and cost-effective over the long term. And certainly it's a very powerful platform with great longevity. From some of the other things that we have on the screen here, we're not going to go through all of them, but certainly know that events and alarm correlation within the platform, absolutely a standard feature. You know, whether it's a door held open, a door forced open, invalid credential, whatever the case may be, this platform can then certainly drive an audible notification on the screen. We can send an email notification out to one or multiple users, and certainly in a unified or integrated fashion, then be able to drive that same notification or event out to call up video, tag video, relay it to a LAN mobile radio, as an example. There's a lot of things that this platform can do within the greater Motorola ecosystem to drive those events and notifications out to users and operators within an environment. Certainly integrated graphic mapping. We will show you this today. It's a powerful solution that is a standard feature of our software. A lot of times when people think of graphic mapping, they kind of automatically go to floor plans and putting door icons and camera icons on the floor plan. We can totally do that. What we found, though, is that the idea or the concept of a security dashboard really resonates more with the marketplace. So I've created a kind of a basic dashboard to show you guys today. And then what we hear back from the marketplace is that really it's more important to be able to drive those capabilities quickly through a mouse click than it is to understand where that door or device is within the environment or the building or the organization. For those customers that are looking for what we call 5 nines of uptime, we do have a patented technology that allows multiple ACM purpose-built appliances to communicate peer-to-peer autonomously to be able to provide those 5 nines of uptime in the event that we need to have like a hot standby auto failover scenario. What's interesting about how we do that is that when you look at the total cost comparatively to the rest of the enterprise space, we do it at about 40% of the cost that the regular market does. So a lot of value and capability, know that from there. Next slide, please. Really the 5 key things that we really want to drive home today, in addition to showing you software, is that we're going to show you a very easy to use software platform. It's no surprise that a lot of the enterprise class competitors that we face in the marketplace, a lot of them are still using very old, dated technology from a software perspective, meaning that it looks very reminiscent of like Windows 95 or 98. It can be very complex and difficult for not only new operators, but seasoned operators to engage with. We're going to show you a very streamlined, easy, intuitive, logical interface today that will certainly make it less expensive, if you will, from a time, energy, and cost perspective to train new employees. We're going to talk about cost-effective. So from a cost-effective standpoint, it's important to know that within the enterprise access control space, pretty much, I believe all of our competitors charge annual fees, whether that's a software support agreement, a software maintenance fee, a database connection fee, a wireless lock fee. The list goes on and on. Here at Avigilon, once you buy an ACM system or a Unity system, there are no long-term costs. And to kind of really drive that point home, I would share with you that I started here at Avigilon in 2015. And in 2015, we were promoting ACM version 4.6. Today, our current rev is 6.46. So those customers that adopted the ACM platform back in 2015 have paid $0 to go through all of those incremental and those major revisions along the path to where we are today. And I can tell you that in the big picture, that ends up being a significant cost savings and a tremendous value to customers. Our thought and philosophy is that we would rather have you spend that money you would normally spend on software maintenance agreements to enhance your security of your organization, add more access control doors, deploy more cameras, hire more people, whatever that needs to be for the organization. We would just as soon you take that money and spend it doing that. From a scalability standpoint, important to know that we only have one version of software here at Avigilon, whereas some other companies may have basic, middleware and enterprise. We have one version of software that literally can support one door at one location or thousands of doors across thousands of locations. Okay, so the platform is fully scalable. You're not going to run into any brick walls from that perspective. From a warranty standpoint, know that our physical appliances, those purpose-built appliances, which we'll show you next, are made for us by Dell. Those come standard with a 3-year warranty. Dell provides us the opportunity to have customers buy up to year 5 on that, which is great. All the Mercury boards come with a 3-year warranty. Any card, reader, or power supply or enclosure comes with a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects from those vendors. So very strong warranty statement. And then certainly the last thing on the slide here, which I don't believe any other manufacturer offers, is a free 24/7 by 365 technical support line that allows the end user customer to call into the same support queue that our partners like Absco can call into. So when you look at the greater market, we kind of step back from a 5,000-foot view. We're really changing the dynamic in a meaningful way for the marketplace, in that we're making it easy to use, low total cost of ownership comparatively, fully scalable with a great warranty and all the service and support that a customer could want or need as a part of just our value package every day. Next slide, please. So as it relates to appliances, again, I mentioned purpose-built hardened Linux appliance. So this is not like a typical server, if you will, that you'd find in most other platforms. All these appliances do is deliver the software that's already pre-installed on them. And what I want to share with you is that all of our appliances, whether it's the Pro, the Enterprise, Enterprise Plus, or Virtual, they all start off supporting 16 readers of access control with the ability to scale up in door count in 16 reader increments. Now, what's important is that that professional box on the far left is designed really for those small to medium customers, medium being 32 readers or less. As we move to the right into the enterprise space, that machine is really designed and developed to kind of take us from 1 door to 600 or 700 doors with great capability, great performance. As we move to the right, the Enterprise Plus, that's our device that we're going to leverage for those 2,048 door opportunities or larger. And just as a point of reference, by middle of next year, that particular machine is going to be capable of scaling to 4,000 doors. So know that we've got a solution from a hardware perspective to meet the needs of the client where they stand today, as well as to meet the needs of the client over the long term or the life cycle of that building. Now, the last appliance on the far right is the one that I'll tell you honestly, we are positioning and selling probably 70 to 75% of the time. More and more IT environments are being virtualized, meaning they're creating a virtualized IT stack, meaning that, hey, look, we don't want to have another physical appliance in here. We just love to take a solution bolted onto our existing stack. Important to know that here at Avigilon, we offer a VMware ESXi certified virtual instance of our enterprise appliance, and also a Microsoft Hyper-V Gen 2 virtual instance of that enterprise appliance as well. What's powerful about the virtual, as some may or may not know, is that certainly the cost is a little bit lower because there is no physical device to deploy, but it allows the customer to dynamically apply additional resources over the lifetime of that system, adding more CPU cores, more RAM, faster hard drives as an example, and then certainly the benefit of being able to do snapshots and restore points. Next slide, please. So beyond having, certainly an open standpoint from a panel infrastructure standpoint, being that Mercury platform, we're very much arms wide open as it relates to all of the other devices and tools that come along with an access control system. And we won't go through all of these, but as an example, we've got a couple references of intrusion systems that we integrate here, multiple instances of card reader technology and credential technology that we integrate with, as well as a whole host of wireless lock solutions. Know that we've really looked at the marketplace from a 5,000 foot perspective, and we've really tried to align ourselves with the best of breed products to allow us to provide the best value to customers. I'll tell you that, again, I've been here 8 years. It's few and far between that we ever engage with a client where there isn't something already installed if we're doing a takeover that we can't typically pull in and leverage to provide cost savings for the customer. Next slide, please. Okay, last slide here. Important to know that we've been getting a lot of requests from the market and from our customers to be able to take some of the capability of administering an access control system and to make that flexible, easy, and convenient. So know that we have the Avigilon Unity mobile app. It's free of charge and certainly allows you to do some very core and capable things, such as driving special conditions is how I refer to them. We call them global actions from a software perspective. But when I say special conditions, that may be a threat level response. It may be a lockdown response to an event. It may be to enable a special schedule or do some other dynamic out of the ordinary capability. We now put that in the palm of your hand on your mobile device. Additionally, it also provides us the ability through this app to grant door access to those doors and devices if need be, as well as to see a historical view of a handful of days of activity that's happened on that door or device. And then from an identity perspective, the app allows us to enable and disable identities remotely through the app, as well as to address and deal with the enablement or disablement of a credential tied to an identity. So know that this is out there. Again, it's complimentary. It doesn't cost you anything. And if we have time today, I would love to do a screen share of the mobile app just to give you kind of a quick look and feel as to what it looks like, how easy it is to operate, and things of that nature. So next slide, please, which I think brings us into the demo. So at this point, I'd like to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go ahead and jump into the ACM environment through our Dallas North American headquarters here. Okay, we can all see my desktop, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and log in. And again, we're going to really hit the high points because we're limited on time for these events. We're going to kind of hit the high points here. We've just logged into ACM. And what I like to highlight immediately is that you'll notice this is a very clean, simply stated design. There's not a bazillion different icons or drop down, drill downs happening. But what we do have is a tab-based methodology where as I hover a mouse over a tab, additional capabilities drop down below. But in its bare essence, we have a monitoring tab, identities, where we manage our people, reports, where we generate reports. Physical access tab, by and large, is an area that our partners like Absco would come in here to enroll the panels, create our card formats, create and develop any of those custom actions that we need. Over here, the roles tab is really a permissions area. Somebody has the ability to log into the software. We call that a delegation. What permissions do we want that user or operator to be able to do or not do in the software? And then certainly access groups from a physical permission standpoint. As we move over to the right, the question mark is our contextually built-in help menu. So what's fantastic about this is that you may have folks in an organization that maybe haven't done a feature or function in either quite some time, or maybe they've never done it before at all. Our help menu has been developed in a great manner in that no matter where you are in the software, you click the question mark, up comes a help menu based on the page that you're on. And I think that if we have time, we'll kind of give you a quick showcase as to what that looks like. Lastly, over here, the setup and settings. This is really where we're going to come in and put an IP address on our appliance, tell it what time zone it's in. If we want to get email notifications on events that happen, if we want to get scheduled reports to get emailed out to people, we're going to go ahead and put our email server information in there. But additionally, we're also going to create schedules, manage our holidays from this area, as well as to be able to go in and create as many custom data fields as you want to. So we do a good job from an identity perspective of having some very normal, if you will, data fields, but know that customers have the ability to go in and create custom data fields to their heart's content. Also, we have the ability to come in here, create maps, badges, and other things. Okay. Then lastly, this is just to log out over here. So what I want to highlight to you, again, trying to keep it some of the off the beaten path things, is I want to show you our dashboard, because I think there's a lot of value in the dashboard. This was actually a customer request about 24 months ago. And so what I like about that is hopefully it shares with you that we are very much in tune with our customers. We do take that feedback, and more often than not, that feedback does get implemented into future releases to make the product better, not only for that customer, but for our customer community as a whole. So the dashboard is fantastic. It's our 5,000-foot view of the entire ecosystem. You'll see that we use color-coded icons and images within our software. Green is good, yellow is trouble, red is something we need to deal with pretty immediately. So you'll see that if I just hover over this green dot here, it shares how much RAM I have free on that appliance, how much disk space I have free. So everything looks really good, but you'll see that up here, we've got a couple of panels that are offline. This is where the dashboard really shines, right? It gives us the quick 5,000-foot view as to what's happening, but it also allows us to drill down in and identify what's going on here. So we've got two panels that are not communicating. Right over here is a panels icon. I click on that, and you'll see that our icon-based methodology flows through here. The little icon here says we have a communications fault on these two panels. Now I immediately know which devices are offline and causing me problem, making it just that much easier and simpler to now call Absco to have them come out and try to help us resolve the problem. You'll see that within the panels page here as well, we are going to show you an IP address or MAC address, depending on how that panel is communicating back to the ACM system, as well as the last time that it was communicated with the platform itself. So know that the dashboard is a great handy tool. Again, standard feature as a part of the platform. The other area that I wanted to showcase to you is the idea of that integrated graphic map. So I went ahead and created a fairly basic dashboard this morning for you to just highlight a couple of things that the security dashboard concept can provide to you. So what I've got here is, again, what we find is that knowing where devices are in a building is less important usually than just being able to quickly drive action on those items. So I put together a very basic dashboard here. We've provided some capability to interact with doors and devices, whether that's to unlock the door device, change the condition of the door from 1-factor to 2-factor authentication as an example, the ability to drive threat level or custom actions, as well as over here to be able to view occupancy within a particular area, space, building, or campus, if that's important to me as well. Now, one of the things that I like to do as a salesperson or as a representative of Avigilon is I like to talk about things and I like to show you that the stuff actually works, okay? So here's one of the other powerful parts of ACM being a browser-based system is I can have multiple tabs open that point to different areas of the software. So I'm going to come over here to the Doors tab. I'm going to right-click on it and tell it to open up a separate page for my doors and devices in the system. We won't spend much time here, but again, I like to talk about things and show you that it works. So in the Doors page, we get an icon that lets us know the status of the door, if it's opened or closed, and what mode that card reader is in. Card only, card and pin, card or pin, disabled, locked out, so on and so forth. So you'll see everything here is normal. I'm going to bounce over here. I'm going to drive threat level 1, which in my world is 2-factor authentication, card and a PIN code. I drive it. It says it's done. I bounce over here. Immediately, the condition of that building is changed. We're going to bounce back here, and we're going to go full lockdown and bounce back, and now we're in a locked no access condition. To bring everything back home, I've got a restore point here. We'll bounce back here, and we're now back to normal. So the dashboard, although this may look somewhat fancy, if you will, let's talk about what this really is. This is a PowerPoint backdrop with an image dropped into it, and I've literally created some text boxes to reference to the operator or administrator what this special icon does to drive that action, whether it's a global action like the threat levels, or to drive a special event, or to unlock a door, okay? Again, this is a standard feature of the software. You can create as many dashboards as you want to. They can be permissions-based, meaning that a high-level administrator can see all dashboards. Lower-level administrators may only be able to see a particular dashboard or two. Powerful solution here for most customers in that it makes it quick and easy to drive some of these capabilities. Now, moving from there, I do want to show you just a look and feel of the intrusion integration. So here in Dallas, we've got a Bosch panel connected to the system. Again, DMP is another intrusion platform that we integrate with. You'll see that the color coding or the color icons carry through all throughout the software. So you'll see that very quickly, I can see that my alarm panel is in good condition because everything is green. I can drill down into the particular areas or what some systems may call partitions, and I get a notification there as well. You'll see that right here, we're ready to arm. We see this leveraged a lot in schools where maybe the janitorial staff come in, they disarm the building, they do their cleaning, and sometimes they forget to arm the building on their way out. This makes it really convenient remotely, if need be, to come in here and go ahead and do an instant arm on my building without ever leaving my home, my easy chair, or what have you. Okay. Status has changed right there, telling me that we are now in an armed state. Now, here's where this gets fun, is that in this integration, we now have logged an event that says that Art Weeks on this date and time armed the building. So there's always an audit trail to go back to. In addition to that, we have the ability to go ahead and filter based on status all of the devices or points within the intrusion system. So what's great here is that customers really get kind of a three-pronged value. They get visibility into the system. Is my system up and functioning? Is it armed or disarmed? I have the ability to invoke change. I can arm or disarm the building. And all of the activity that happens from an intrusion standpoint funnels into our database, now providing one database to go capture not only access control, but intrusion-based data or event information. Let's talk very quickly about identities, because managing people within an access control system is a rudimentary part of the system. What I want to talk about, I can't show you this, but it's important to know that our platform integrates with what we call collaborations with Active Directory, SQL databases, and Oracle databases exceptionally well. I'll tell you that probably 65 to 70% of customers are today connecting our system to Active Directory to automate the importation of people into the system. And then certainly when people leave their employment or they ask them to leave their employment, that automation then automatically disables people when the Active Directory profile is turned off. What I want to highlight for you, though, during our short time together is how easy it is to just add somebody to the system. And then we're going to go through the process, which everybody goes through, dealing with the lost and stolen card. Okay, so in our world, to add things to the system, there's a green plus sign. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add Identity here. We'll talk about profiles in a minute. So we're going to tell the system we're not going to use those right now. The only two required fields on this entire page, folks, is the first name and last name. So we're going to create Miss Sarah Smith today. And I'm going to go ahead and click Save. The system's going to automatically move me through a wizard-driven environment. It knows that I've already created Sarah. It now takes me into the roles, which again, if we remember, is permissions. So now I need to add permissions to Sarah's capability. Well, she's going to have 24/7 all access within our environment. You'll notice that when I click Save here, now the system's going to move me logically to the right to say, great, we've got Sarah, we've given her permissions. Now we need to issue her a credential, what we call tokens, right? Whether that's a card, a fob, or a PIN number. So this is where I would open the desk drawer. I would grab a card out of the box. I would enter that card number here. You'll see that the token status is automatically set to active. And if I want to set it to never expire, I can do that. If we need extended door times for this individual, I can select that for ADA type purposes, or I can certainly set a deactivation date. But by and large, folks, we're going to go ahead and just click Save. Okay, so Sarah Smith's been added to the system very simply and very easily. The other thing that I've included here is that we've got more and more people that want to add photos of their identities to the system. So I've even taken the next step to say, how do we add a photo to this identity? Well, I can come right here to Photos. I happen to have an image on my desktop of Sarah, so I can upload a photo here. I'm going to check it as the primary photo. I'm going to point to that file right here. The system's going to go ahead and consume it once I click Save, and we'll see that photo pop up. Now, an important thing to think about here is that because we are browser-based, let's say I'm out in the community and maybe we're at a job fair or some other event where I need to get people into my system. Because we're browser-based, our platform is going to recognize any camera that's connected to the device that you're using. So if you're using a cell phone or an iPad or a tablet, and I'm out in the field and I need to capture a picture of an individual that I'm bringing into the system, I can literally do that through a mobile device. I don't necessarily have to be driving behind a desktop like I am today. Okay, let's talk very quickly about profiles, and then we're going to move off of identities. Profiles, I think of profiles as templates. There are certainly scenarios and groups of people within any organization where we may cycle a lot of people, whether that's a cleaning crew or a vendor that comes in to service this, that, or the other. What's nice is that profiles allow us to capture all of that information by and large, for the organization one time, and allow me to go ahead and bind permissions and assign them to a group all in one fell swoop. So let me show you how this works. So let's say we've got a cleaning crew and they've given us a call, and we've got a brand new employee that's coming to work the shift, if you will. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an identity. Again, the system knows that we have profiles, so I'm going to go, great. We've got somebody new coming in from the cleaning crew. I'm going to click continue. And what you'll see here is that, again, not a lot of information in this demonstration, but I've selected it's a vendor. They are going to be active. Here's the street address and phone number of that organization. All I have to do is put in this person's name, and I'm going to stick with Smith for the last name here for the sake of ease. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now, what you'll notice is that profile already allowed me to bind a role or permissions to that individual. So I don't have to manually go do that process. I've already automatically binded this person to a group. So if I need to go run reports later on which individuals or identities are part of the cleaning crew, I've done that automatically. Really, all I have to do now is to open the desk drawer, grab a card, and put that card number in here. Right. So profiles are a great way to be able to capture the information that you want on a vendor or a group that is kind of engaging with you on the regular, and to be able to automate that, to do it, set the parameters once, and to just go ahead and have the system automatically lay that in every time with the roles, group assignment, so on and so forth. So I do like to highlight that for you as well, because invariably most companies have these folks, whether it's the HVAC company, it's the cleaning crew, it's the groundskeepers, whatever it may be. Okay, so from here, let's touch very quickly on reports. And I think I'm still doing fairly good for time here. Important to know that within the Unity Access Control platform, we have 28 predefined report templates. And I think of them as templates because they're really jumping off points. Everything from, hey, show me a report on access groups, or the holidays that we have programmed in the system, or the schedules that we have programmed in the system, or typically, more than likely, transactional based report, where I need to go look and see, hey, who went through where and when, and what was the action? Was it a valid access? Was it a denied access? Whatever the case may be. Know that we've got all of these report templates in here, standard for you to work with. We do generate reports in a PDF or a CSV format. I'll tell you that personally, about 90+% of our folks do kick it out in a CSV format so they can filter and modify the data, outside of our application. You have the ability to create from those templates custom reports. You can create as many custom reports as you want to. And you'll see here that we have the ability to schedule these reports. Now, here's a time-saving thing. Now, it's funny because a lot of the demos and conversations that I have with people, when I ask the question, how often do you run reports? A lot of people say we hardly ever run them. Why? Because they're difficult to do, which is a shame, right? Because a lot of the benefit and value of an access control system is to be able to gather that data and to be able to report on it later. In our case, I can go ahead and create a common report. Maybe we've got a manager or supervisor that says, hey, every week I need to understand who had access to my building. In our world, I can literally do it once. Weekly building access, I can go ahead and schedule it to generate the report every Monday at 8 a.m. and automatically email it out to one, multiple people, or a distribution list. While at the same time, in this case here, even though it's a weekly report, I can drive a report dynamically real time. Now, this may take a moment because we have a lot of activity in our demo environment, but that's the nice thing too, is even though I've got a static report that happens automatically every week or every 30 days, whatever the case may be, at any point in time, if I have an event that takes place, I can go ahead and drive that report instantaneously and get feedback. So you'll see here that even in a very short amount of time, 115 pages of local grant or valid access activity over the last 7 days within this environment. Okay, so know that from a reporting standpoint, we really want you to be able to leverage and use that. And in a lot of cases, we can automate those reports to happen automatically for you where you see commonality. The last thing that I'll share on here is that it's important to know that we always don't have to start from scratch. And what I mean by that is I could take this weekly access report where currently we're looking for valid access and valid credentials. And I could quickly make a couple of filter changes and go, now I'm looking for invalid credentials, I'm looking for access denied, or I'm looking for this, that, or the other. I can take that framework and spin it off and save it as something completely different. So that's a nice feature too, I believe, is that we don't always have to go back to ground zero to start from that standpoint. The last thing that I want to show you today is a part of our walkthrough, and if we have time, we'll show you the app, is that doors page. I do want to come back here because there's a lot of value in the doors page into what we do. Again, you'll see that we show an icon. The check mark green means everything is good. You'll see that this door is unlocked. We've got a couple here that are offline. We're going to show you the real-time state of that door, assuming it has a door contact on it, right? Is the door opened or closed? What mode that card reader's in? So I get visibility to the condition of the doors within my system. I can create hardware groups. So if we've got larger entities, multiple buildings, multiple campuses, whatever the case may be, I can literally create hardware groups so that I just hone in on the handful of doors for building 34 as opposed to the entire campus. That's good to know as well. And I can come in here and I can interact with these devices at will if I need to. Okay, we go into an unlocked condition as an example. Now, the other thing that we can do, let me go ahead and restore this back to normal, is we can create what I call custom events. In the system, we call them overrides. So we have holidays, which are for true holiday events, but every organization typically will have custom events. It's the Rotary Club coming in to use a space. It's whatever the case may be, right? So we have the ability to create up to 100 overrides per Mercury Intelligent Controller. And here's what that looks like. I can come in here and say, we've got the Rotary Club, let's say, coming in to utilize our conference room for their monthly meeting. I can highlight the devices that we're going to need to have unlocked for them. I create an override. I call it Rotary for the sake of brevity here. I need these doors to be put into an unlocked state. These are the doors that I've already selected. I can either select today or 8 months from now. So I can select my timing period there. And I can put a note in here, right? Monthly Rotary Club meeting, as an example. I can go ahead and add that to the system. It tells me that it's been added correctly, and you'll notice it now. I get a visual notification on the screen that there is an override scheduled for these devices. It's not currently running or active. I know that because it's white in the center of this circle. If it was solid blue, that would mean that the activity was actually running real time currently. So I think that's a powerful feature too, because there are a lot of events that take place within organizations where we need to kind of create these one-off scenarios. And the fact that we can create up to 100 of these per Mercury Intelligent Controller means that we can do a lot of things to really meet the needs of the client in the marketplace. With that, that's kind of what I wanted to show you from a software perspective. Jen, do we have time for me to do a quick screen share of the mobile app, or should we jump into a question and answer scenario?
I think we're good. Yeah, Art, I would say give it a couple minutes and show us what you got. We've got one question in chat so far, but
okay, cool.
But we'll get that here.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Just again, because I want to show you this stuff works, is we're going to kind of create a scenario here where I'm going to show you both, right? Because I want you to see that we can drive change on these devices through the mobile app. So let me do a quick screen share here. Let's hope everything works as intended. It usually does. Okay.
So Art, this is Chad. Is that really your desktop?
It is, dude. I know. I've got a sickness, don't I?
Clean. Oh my!
I need to go to the doctor. I'm ill, aren't I?
I'm jealous of that desktop.
Okay. So here we go. So here's the Unity Access app here. Right. So you'll see that that what we have down along the bottom is these are our global actions, or those unique events, right? Lockdown, threat level, restore, just like I did through the dashboard. Down here is our doors and devices, grant access, look at transactional history, and then manage people. So very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and drive a lockdown. Look at the right-hand side of the screen, right? We went into a lockdown condition immediately. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull it back to restore. We're back to normal. You'll notice that on the screen, it does show me which doors and devices are a part of that program. You'll also notice it over here. Let me kind of do double duty here. I can view all, and I can tell you that in our environment, we've got a metric ton of global actions. You get to select in the software, in the web GUI that we've been working in, which of these global actions show up on the app. So not all of them have to show up. And as you saw there, you were able to create favorites so that you can quickly engage those actions that you see fit. Now, as we jump over to the doors, the middle icon on the bottom, again, you can see that I can see all the doors and devices in my system. Here's my demo door here as an example. You'll see that here's some recent transactions from today. You'll see that the system tells me that we're in a normal condition because the door is closed, but I can go ahead and grant access. And if I'm real quiet, you might hear the relay go. I don't know if you heard the beep or not, but we did have a valid grant there. So this is helpful too, for those scenarios where maybe you've got a contractor that showed up on property, you know that it's the right person. Boom, I can remote release that person in if I need to. Lastly, let's get back to the identity side. So again, we've got folks in our system here. And so if I go find myself as an example, here's Art. You'll see that photo comes through. Here's where I can change the status. So let's say immediately something happened, you need to deactivate me. All I do is I click there, and now I have the ability to change the status of that identity real time through the mobile app. You'll see that down here are the multiple tokens that I have. Let's say I call manager, supervisor, hey, I've lost card number 298. I can very quickly come in here, and up in the right-hand corner, I can now take that token or that credential and mark it as lost, stolen, damaged, expired, inactive, right? So these are just, again, some of the core things that the marketplace told us that they wanted that we delivered, again, at no cost. And if there's value there, great. We'd love to have you be able to play with that. But that would kind of conclude what I wanted to show you. I did want to at least show that. Very clean design, very easy to navigate. And again, not everybody in your organization needs to be able to have that capability, but for those that need it and there's value, it's important to be able to have that. So with that, Jen, that kind of concludes the parts that I wanted to showcase to the team today. Let me go ahead and share my screen back to you. Or let's see.
I think I can just take over, Art.
Oh, take over, please. Thank you.
I have all the power.
Yes.
All righty. Well, we did have one question already, I think, from Rob here. Oops, I'm wrong. Where did my? Here it is in the chat. Not in the chat here. There it is. It says, can professional be installed into an equipment rack, bolted into an equipment rack?
So unfortunately not. The Pro Box is such a small device that really what we see people doing is if it's going to go in an IDF or an MDF room, they're going to place that on a shelf within the IT rack, whether they stand it vertically or lay it on its side. But it does not have the mounting mechanisms that I'm aware of to be able to mount up to a rack traditionally.
Gotcha. And let's see. Oops. Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Glad it was informative. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to speak up, please. You can just unmute yourself, or if you want to type it in the chat, whatever works best for you.
Hey, Art, question on what are you seeing? There's been a decent advancement in the industry and just technology in general with cloud. what are you seeing being a major decision factor from a client use perspective or security perspective, why a customer would want to go Unity on-prem versus cloud?
Yeah, so great question. So certainly there's a lot of factors that come into play. Certainly, among them are, does the client have the IT staff to manage a traditional on-prem solution? That's certainly coming into play. There are certain integrations that need to happen that may not be available today from a cloud perspective. If we use our own selves as a topic there, on our cloud access control platform, we only have one wireless lock integration today. So if we have a customer that's using a Schlage AD400s or AD300s or ASA Abloy as an example, we don't have the ability to play with that today. So I would say that integrations to a degree can become a deciding factor there. And then also the desire to quite honestly kind of mitigate or push some of the security concerns off of their plate onto a resource like us or others that are using cloud-based platforms. We use Amazon AWS as our cloud-hosted provider. They do a great job, certainly with cybersecurity and all these things. But it really comes down to integrations, the appetite of the IT professionals within the organization. Do they still want to manage these on-prem systems? And the other thing too is that there are, my opinion, the larger organizations, I think it's going to be quite some time, if ever, that they actually move to a full-blown cloud play. What I could see happening long-term is more of a hybrid approach, where we take advantage of the benefits that cloud can provide, maybe from a redundancy and backup standpoint, but yet still have that full control on site. But it's from client to client, it is different. I can tell you that I've seen in my particular market, the cloud growth is exponential. And when I say exponential, first 6 months of this year, I've seen over a 70% growth in cloud adoption. And it's across multiple verticals. I mean, that then becomes a secondary piece too, is that there are certain verticals that I don't believe will ever move to the cloud. Military, defense, I think healthcare may be a tricky one too. So that comes into play too. Hopefully that answers the question decently.
Thank you. Yes, it does.
Yes, sir.
Art, I have a couple more questions from the chat here.
Sure.
Nick asks, integration with cameras. How's it integrate with cameras?
Yeah. So today, ACM or Avigilon Unity has an integration with XactVision, with Milestone, obviously with our own in-house Unity Video known as Avigilon Control Center. We talked about through that Motorola Safety Reimagined umbrella, how we could do kind of a on-prem to cloud solution. So know that we're really close to getting to having ACM or Unity also be able to integrate with our Alta Cloud video platform. Those are the primary ones that we integrate with today. And we're certainly always open to looking at other opportunities as well.
And then I have a question from Andy. Can you show the software managing multiple sites or buildings with different access groups?
So we could certainly do that in a offline conversation. We don't have time as far as today goes, but certainly important to know that this platform allows you the ability to manage multiple sites, multiple locations, whether that's locally, regionally, or globally, and then having different access groups or permission groups to segment what people can see in any, some, or all. Would be happy to follow up with you on that.
Awesome. I will send over Andy's information to you and Susan, who is his account rep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And looks like, okay, Nick asked to clarify, how does the on-prem Avigilon camera integrate with the access control system? What abilities and functionalities are unlocked?
Yeah, so great question. So within the Unity platform, we go from everything very basic. So an event happening from an access control standpoint, calling up a live video feed or tagging a video snippet to that event, certainly doable. Important to know that the list is pretty long, but access control transactions can drive video capability. Video actions, loitering, so on and so forth, can drive access control capability. Beyond kind of tagging video, I can also remote release doors from a video perspective. Probably the most powerful one, quite honestly, is what we call our identity search. And that's a scenario where in that integrated play, let's say I have an event that takes place, and I'm going to pick on Chad Smith because I like him so much, is let's say we're suspect of Chad. Hey, something happened and I need to go find out where Chad's been for the last 15 days. And by the way, I need to also gather all the video evidence tied to every one of those transactions. In the normal world, normal being everybody else, that means we run an access control report. We go into a VMS and we're literally searching date and time by date and time to see if it really was Chad. In our world, we literally type in Chad Smith, we put in a date range, we hit go. The system collates the access control events and provides me with a quick link to view the real-time video. That one is huge because we've already talked to enough customers to understand that typically events like that can take days, if not weeks, to resolve. Where it gets even more powerful, if we leverage that same conversation there, is let's say we find an event and Chad Smith is not in the video and it's somebody that we don't know. Through that integration, by coalescing the information, now we can tell the video system to spin off and say, we don't know who this person is, find out where they were before or after that event. That's called appearance search. That becomes super powerful. Certainly one of the other things that happens too, and again, kind of a third leg of the stool, is any of those events that happen from video or access control can then also drive a response to land mobile radios, right? Door held open, boom, it hits a person's radio on their hip, text to voice communication, door held open, building 3, room 304. And by the way, on that same land mobile radio, they can view video of the event or real-time video as well. So there's a lot of things that we can do. Would love to have an offline conversation with you because that could be an hour discussion in its own right, quite honestly. Hopefully I answered that okay for you.
Yeah, and we've got one last question here. Says, prior to Andrew Mendez, our old IT manager's departure, he had mentioned there were padlocks that could be key card, access card controlled in lieu of a physical key. Do those still exist?
They do. Yeah, they do. So that padlock scenario is through our integration with Salto. So Salto is a wireless lock platform that leverages what we call data on card. So I'm sure most of us right on the call have been to a hotel. Those locks that we engage with in a hotel are not online. They're not network connected. We write permissions to the credential. And so the Salto padlocks work in a very similar way where now I can have an offline device at a substation or communications tower somewhere, and I can literally take that credential, gain access to that offline device. That transaction then writes back to the credential. So I know that when I get back to the main office. Anyway, the answer is yes, we still offer those. It's a very fascinating technology, and that integrates pretty darn seamlessly with ACM as well.
All right.
Would love to talk further about that too.
Thanks, Art. We'll make sure to get Nick's information in case he has any further questions.
Okay.
Follow up. I did just put into the chat because I know we're kind of coming down on time and folks may need to leave. If you have the opportunity to leave us some feedback about today's presentation, we would sincerely appreciate it. We like to do these events to help provide valuable education to our customers and folks that we're working with. So we appreciate your feedback if you have a moment. The other thing is that if you are someone who needs continuing education, we do provide a certificate of attendance that we'll send out to everybody that was here for at least an hour. And if you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to your account executive directly, or if you would like, you can certainly reach out to us at salessupport@abscosolutions.com, and we will put you in contact with the right salesperson for your region. And last but not least, as I said, we love to do these events, and we're planning another one for Wednesday, December 6th. To talk about system integration. We had a lot of questions today about integration between cameras and access control, and we're going to have Andrew Fletchall, who is our managing director here, of all things technical at Absco, along with Mike Golson, who is a very technically inclined person from Motorola, put that webinar on for us. So we're excited about that. And that's it. Thank you all very much for coming, and thank you so much, Art, for being an excellent speaker. We always enjoy having you to share your knowledge with us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Yeah, bye-bye.